Hey friends, Chubby Meeple back with another Kickstarter preview for you, and today we're going to take a look at Dreams of Tomorrow. This is on Kickstarter now, seeking funding. It's actually already funded and knocking out stretch goals, but it's published by Weird Giraffe Games. We're going to jump over to the table, I'll give you a brief overview of how the game plays, and then we'll jump back here and I'll tell you my thoughts. We're looking at a two-player setup for Dreams of Tomorrow. We have player one down here, our white player, who has received one dream from the dream deck. We also have player two, our yellow player here, with a dream that they start with as well. We'll talk about dreams in a second. We've also set up the collective consciousness, which is a series of action spaces here, and there are various cards. What you see here on the table are the cards for 1 to 3 players, numbered 1 to 4, and these cards will start on their front side. There is a back side to these cards as well. As you'll see, these cards can flip over to the opposite end, switching out the available actions for players to take. You'll also see we've placed our starting meeples in the starting action space up here in the upper leftmost space, so you have our white and our yellow meeples ready to go. And then we have to shuffle the dream deck, and for a 2-player game, we deal out or reveal 4 dreams into the dreamscape. Through the course of the game, players are going to be moving around the action spaces available in the collective consciousness and gathering resources, either creativity, hope, or experience. They'll also be able to catch dreams from the dreamscape using the experience they've obtained. They can then weave the dreams in their dream catcher, which is this location here to the left of their player board. They can then use dreams in their dream catcher and weave those into a dream sequence that will get placed below their player board down here. And once one player has woven 5 dreams into a solid dream sequence at the bottom, the game will end and will total up victory points to determine a winner. Player starting resources will also start with their movement direction going clockwise. They will start with 0 hope and 0 creativity, and with 6 experience with the game. Gameplay in Dreams of Tomorrow takes place over a series of rounds where each player will be moving around the collective consciousness. That is the set of these 4 consciousness cards that we have here. They're going to be moving around the collective consciousness. They're going to be taking the action where they land. So the way movement works, when you're moving around the collective consciousness, you're always going to move in the direction indicated by your player card. So it starts out moving clockwise. You can, through various actions, switch your direction so that you are moving counterclockwise and moving the other direction from other players. And your direction is your direction. So if this player had their card set over to moving counterclockwise, the yellow player would be moving counterclockwise around the collective consciousness, while our white player would be moving clockwise based on the direction on their card. So it is a per player direction. During movement, a player can move, you have to move at least 1 space on your turn. You can move 1 to 3 spaces for free, meaning it does not cost you any resources. Anything you wish to move after that 3rd space, you can pay a resource for, either an experience, a creativity, or a hope to move additional spaces. However, moving 1 to 3 spaces is free. If you wish to move 4 spaces, it's going to cost you a single resource of your choice. Moving 5 spaces will cost you 3 resources of your choice. And if you move 6 spaces, you will pay 6 resources total. And you can move those, you can combine those resources. So you could spend, 2 experience, 2 creativity, and 2 hope to move 6 spaces, for example. Now, however, it should be noted that when you're using the ability of a space, you cannot move additional spaces. Let's take a look at the collective consciousness. The collective consciousness is a series of 8 action spaces that are arranged in numerical order. You'll notice the upper left-hand corner of each card has a numerical value numbered 1 through 4. And these cards will be changing not only position, but could also flip to their backside as well as the game progresses. Various actions can cause this to happen. Let's take a look at the various actions that you have on the space. The starting space where our meeples begin in the upper left-hand corner is the icon for activating a dream ability, and we'll talk about that here in a second. The next 3 spaces in line allow you to gain hope, experience, and creativity. And there are 2 sections to these cards. If I move a meeple to this first card, let's say we move the white meeple to this card, they would gain 4 hope. So they would simply tick that up on their hope counter on the player card, and the other players would gain 2 hope. So it's like a lead follow action almost. The same is true with both experience and with creativity. The active player would gain 4, the other players at the table would gain 2. This space down here is the Activate Dream ability, and your dream abilities are found down here on the dream card. So for example, this card allows you to move up to 3 spaces using this ability here. You move up to 3 spaces and then take the action on the new space that you've landed on. This one over here allows you to discard or basically clear out the dreamscape and then catch a dream. The next card here is to catch a dream. This is where you will actually spend experience points off of your player board. So as we showed earlier, players begin the game with 6. So you could spend experience off of your board to catch a dream and add it to your dream catcher. So for example, if I wanted to catch this dream and add it to my dream catcher, I could spend 6 experience points according to what's shown here, and this would go into my dream catcher to the left of my player board. All other players would gain 2 experience. The next step here is the weave a dream. When you're weaving dreams, you're taking dreams out of your dream catcher and you're weaving them into a dream sequence below your player board. And the cost to do so is going to vary by dream. If we take a look at the dream that we just captured here with the 6 experience, you'll notice that in order to weave this dream, it shows 5 creativity and 3 hope. I would have to spend those resources in order to weave that dream from my dream catcher into my dream sequence beneath my player board. Whereas the dream over here only costs 2 creativity and 4 hope to do the same thing. It is important to note that these dreams do need to be in your dream catcher before you can weave them. A dream cannot be woven from the dreamscape directly into your dream sequence. And then the final space we have here, and I should note as well, when you weave a dream into your dream sequence, all other players will gain 2 hope. And then the final space here allows you to gain 3 resources of your choice, and all other players will gain 1 creativity. As players move through the collective consciousness, they could end up landing on spaces that allow them to activate dream abilities. Activating dream abilities involves moving to this dream ability space that we see here, and also on the starting space where our players begin the game. When activating a dream, there are no costs to doing so unless the dream ability itself lists a cost. So to activate a dream, let's say we had a player that landed here. We'll move our yellow player here again. Our yellow player is going to activate a dream. Now, when activating a dream, you will activate either the dream on top of your dream catcher or the ability showing in your dream sequence. So in this case, the 2 choices that our yellow player has is to swap places with the opponent and then move up to 2 spaces and take the new action. Or they could activate this ability, which allows them to move to any location in the collective consciousness and lose a resource of their choice. It's completely up to them how they want to do that. If our white player over here were to choose to activate their dream by moving around the collective consciousness, this ability allows them to reorder any number of cards up here in the consciousness, and then they must move 1 space and take that action. So for example, if this player needed to move, they wanted to get to a space that allowed them to do something they couldn't reach, they could move a card closer to them and be able to move. So for example, he's landed here, he's activating this sequence, he needs to reorder. He can reorder any number of cards in the collective consciousness and then must move a space. So let's say he wants to grab some extra creativity, which is unfortunately for him 3 spaces away. He could choose to reorganize these cards in any way that he sees fit. So we're going to take these, we're going to move this, including moving the yellow meeple with the card. And then we're just going to simply slide these other 2 cards down. Now his dream ability says he must move 1 space and take that ability. So he would then move and gain 4 creativity. And that is how we activate dreams in Dreams of Tomorrow. Let's talk about catching dreams and weaving dreams. To catch a dream, a player needs to position their meeple or move their meeple around the collective consciousness onto a space that has the dream catching icon. This is a little moon and cloud with a little plus symbol next to it. Once that happens, a player will spend experience off of their player board to capture one of the dreams in the dreamscape. In a 2-player game, we have 4 dreams that could be captured, and all of the experience values are shown in this bar on each dream sequence. So we have sequences here, or dream fragments, that cost 5, 6, 3, and 2 experience. So if our yellow player were to land on this space, they would be able to spend experience. Let's say they spend 3 experience and they catch this dream, or that's 2 experience. The dream is then placed on top of their dream catcher, and a new dream is drawn from the dream deck to fill in the vacant space. So there will always be 4 dreams showing in the dreamscape available to players. In order to weave a dream, players need to move to the Weave a Dream space. I should also point out that when the yellow player came here and grabbed the dream or caught a dream from the dreamscape, all other players would gain 2 experience. So our white player would actually get to take up their experience up to 8. The white player would take their turn. On a future turn, our yellow player could use this Weave a Dream space to weave a dream, which allows them to move a dream from their dream catcher down to their sequence, and it also grants hope to the other players. So if the yellow player were to move here, they would spend a combination of resources. In this case, they would need to spend 3 creativity and 3 hope to weave this particular dream fragment into the sequence. So let's say they've acquired some creativity and hope throughout moving around the collective consciousness. They would spend 3 creativity and 3 hope, and they would simply move this dream fragment down below their player board to start their dream sequence. On future turns when weaving a dream, let's say they chose to weave this dream later in the game, they're actually going to weave it in such a way that it either covers the ability here, it goes to the end of the dream sequence, or they can choose to slot it under the dream sequence that's already there, adding it to the beginning of the sequence, and keeping this particular ability open. In your dream sequence, you will only have 1 ability showing because all other abilities will be covered up with the cards overlapping. The game will proceed in this manner until 1 player has 5 dreams in their dream sequence. Players will finish the round, and the game will end when players have had an equal number of turns. Scoring in Dreams of Tomorrow is actually a combination of 2 pieces of information. First, the scores from your collected dreams in each player's dream sequence, plus the dream resonance, or how much the dream actually flows from fragment to fragment. And we'll discuss resonance here in a second. The easiest thing to calculate is the dream score. So we simply look at each scoring ability, or each score amount in the upper right-hand corner of each dream. So this dream is worth 4 points. The one under it is worth 3. We have a 5-pointer, and we have another 4-pointer. So we're looking at a total of 9, 12, 16 points just from the dreams themselves. The next thing we need to score is resonance, and resonance is scored by simply looking at the colors at the top and the bottom of the dream, or there are symbols on those that you could use to match as well. Any symbol that is next to a matching symbol is part of a set. So we have an open circle, and a closed circle. Now the closed circle is a different type of symbol or a different color. In this case, you've got yellow versus the pinkish color. So we have a set of 2 open circles, and then a set of 2 closed circles. Each set of 2 is worth 2 points apiece. So for resonance, we have a total of 4 points so far. Then we look at the bottom. The bottom all has this greenish teal color and the triangle pointing downward. So this is a set of 4, which is worth 7 points. So we have a total of 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 points from resonance, plus the 16 points we saw before, giving this player a score of 27 points, even though they only have 4 dreams in their dream sequence. Let's look at the other player here and total up their points to see if having 5 dreams in their sequence and ending the game was enough to guarantee victory. First thing we do is, again, we look at the scores. We have a 3 plus a 2 gives us 5, plus another 2 puts us at 7, a 3 here gives us 10, and another 2 puts us at 12. So we have 12 points from the dreams themselves. Looking at the top symbols, we have a row of 3, these closed circles. This symbol here, or this card here, is actually a wild that contains all 3 symbols. So we have a set of 3 across the top there, and another set of 3 of the little half moon, little crescent moons. Sets of 3 are worth 4 points, so we have 4 points plus another 4 points for a total of 8. And then along the bottom, we only have matching symbols on these final 2 cards that are next to one another for another 2 points. So they gain 10 points total from resonance to add to the, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we are at 12 plus 10 gives us 22 points for our white player, 27 points for the yellow player. This is our winner. So that's Dreams of Tomorrow, again published by Weird Giraffe Games on Kickstarter now, currently seeking funding and knocking out stretch goals as it is already funded. Very fun little game, a little action selection action going on with the, I like the almost rondelle feel of the action selection spaces. I love the fact that they can change on you and jump around. You may have a move planned out, but then your opponent does something where they alter the collective consciousness spaces, and now they're in an order, and the space you wanted is now 5 or 6 spaces away, and now it's a matter of, is there a way I can manipulate the collective consciousness to get there on my own? Maybe I just want to spend some extra resources to move a few extra spaces and get there. And then if I spend those resources, do I still have the resources necessary to weave that dream or catch the new dream that I wanted? Very unique action selection mechanism that's used in this game, and I really enjoy that aspect of it. For a fairly rules-light game, it adds a serious depth of strategy to the game, and I think it's very cool. I really like the artwork on the dream fragments themselves. What you saw obviously was prototype components from the Kickstarter game itself. But the artwork on the dream fragments is gorgeous. It's brightly colored. It does a great job of conveying that these are dreams. So you look at the pictures, and they may be settings, or maybe they don't make sense in a lot of ways. But then again, do our dreams really make that much sense? So I really like the way that the art gets that feeling across. I like the scoring. It's important to point out, and you couldn't really tell in the video a whole lot, but when scoring your dreams, just because the dreams all have the same picture on them doesn't necessarily mean that they're the same point value. So you may have one that has the green kind of lush tree on it that's worth 5 points, but someone else may have the exact same thing that's only worth 2. So keeping an eye on those point values is really important. And maybe if you get to the point in the game where you see you're not going to be the person to trigger in-game by having 5 dreams in your sequence, maybe it's time to start focusing on catching and weaving the dreams that have the higher point values on them and getting those into play, so that even if you do end the game with only 3 or 4 in your dream sequence at the end of the game, you still have a shot at winning. I really like that aspect where you really have to pay attention to the symbols on the top and bottom of the dreams as well as the points. So overall, I really enjoy Dreams of Tomorrow. The game plays 1 to 6. My overview only showed a 2-player setup. The game actually has a great solo mode. Didn't even really talk about it in the video at all, but there's also a mode called Nightmare Mode where you add a nightmare. It's actually a little wooden horse meeple that goes in and really adds extra chaos to the action spaces being moved around and the cards flipping over in the collective consciousness. It really gets chaotic with that. The solo mode is fantastic. You play against a robot player, 3 levels of difficulty. You can also throw the nightmare into the solo mode and get really chaotic and really tough for you to win. I would definitely recommend checking out Dreams of Tomorrow on Kickstarter now. And until next time, keep gaming, friends.